Blessing, guys, once again. Welcome forward to Reasonings right here at the Trail Life. I'm Talaku the Great Owl. Yes, just showing off my wonderful ensemble of modified jeans pants, modified hat. Well, I designed it, I just didn't sew the base. And I hand sewed my jacket. Designs by Talaku. And it's an interesting time to be talking about designs by Talaku. It's a beautiful day, and I'm celebrating the gift of being able to be so creative and productive. I take a little bit more of a look at everything so you can see a little bit more closer up. Yeah, I guess you can zoom, right? You know, this particular week, I've been, some would say, strong. I've been particularly going through a lot of issues, starting last week, because last week was my birthday. And, I've been here for, a good enough amount of time, and I've learned a lot from being here. But I recognize that as I get older, maybe in the last 4 to 5 years, especially since I got saved, which was like, 13 years ago, 12 years ago, but especially in the last 4 to 5 years, I realized that around birthdays, people get really edgy, disappear on me. And I guess it's like, in some sense, they're showing, well, maybe their displeasure with you, are saying, well, really, they're not really with you. And in speaking to some of them, I realized that there were philosophies around not celebrating the gift of life. And maybe some people thinking that you're egotistic, and especially with the modern societies talking so much about birthdays being curses. But this isn't a second video about birthdays, or a third, to be honest. This video is about the value of life. And I started out that way to show, without vanity or vainness, I truly love and appreciate, or some would say appreciate, love myself and what I do. I'm wearing the glasses today because the sun is hot and I'm out, and I think it's a style, as a matter of fact, to be wearing, something protective. Yeah, so a lot of people do not value life. It is a thing with the modern construction of self-image. Life has gotten to be like this curse, right? So this particular video is about life. Is it a gift or is it a curse? Because for me, it is certainly a gift. In how you understand the gift, from my point of view, is understanding that what is called a curse still comes under the ambits of the gift. Because the curse in of itself does not stand in a vacuum by itself. The curse is connected to some depreciation in the value of the gift of life. Because anytime life tends to go down in a depressive state of being, activity, mentality, behaviors, there is this depression in the value and the quality of life. So if you talk to someone who's going through some of the most difficult experiences that life could produce, they would tell you, possibly, because it's not absolute, that life is a curse. Sometimes when I hear it being said, it's like people saying having a gift is like a blessing or a curse. And I'll tell you why they say it is a curse. Because sometimes when people have, let's say, spiritual gifts, but it's not exclusive to spiritual gifts. It can be physical talents, talents that are physically observable by others, not just the psychological worth of maybe like a vocal talent or an artistic talent. Like some people can really build well, and you went to school with them and they kind of excel technically at building, right? So you have some people who would look at the gifts of others, the spiritual gifts, right, of others, and then say that life has given them maybe something that is better than it has given them, right? So they look at a person who is gifted and talented and expressing that talent as probably somebody who is having a better experience or being better favored. However, I laid it out like simple. If it is that we are both in a situation where we can learn something, how you apply yourself to it is the experience and the outcome you're going to get. So you might be looking at the talent that others have as being a great favor. Sometimes the people themselves might look at the talent as a curse. Why do they look at it as a curse? Because it isolates them. It puts them in a different category because people avoid them, because people are now saying, hey, you're extra talented, hey, you're extra smart, hey, she's extra beautiful, she's extra intelligent. And that now puts them on a circumspect position where they compare, and of course through their comparison find themselves to be the less. And so they find that they push back against such people. So a lot of times the brilliant, the talented have self-esteem issues because they think that their blessing from God, they think that their gift from God is actually a curse. It is so strange, right? Because everywhere they go expressing this beautiful gift, they're getting negative reaction, negative responses. So if a person is conditioned, or if a people is conditioned like this over an extended period of time, then you can see how they would come up with this idea that life is a curse. So now back to what I was saying. So when I want to appreciate my life, people assume that I have some superfluous view of myself. But I used to have a low view of myself, just like the average individual person, right? And when I came to faith, and the Spirit of the Most High came to me and told me, listen, Jerome, all of this you treating others on your birthday, that's all well and nice, but it's time that you treat yourself to appreciate the gift that I have given to you. Because a lot of people don't see life as a gift from the Creator, hallelujah, of life. They don't. And I'm not talking even like I'm so special, I'm telling you the truth. A lot of people look at this life as it's completely hell on earth, it's a curse, it's destruction. And I can't say I've never passed through one or more of those states. I never stayed there, but I've passed through, hallelujah, those states of being. Now when I came to self-acceptance, which is very important, when you do not need validation for the appreciation of the gifts and talents that God has given you, that you're naturally born with, that means you didn't go petition it, or for the gift of focus you have, that you can hone a physical talent or a physical skill into something remarkable. You cannot allow the external factors of people's opinions, behaviors, expectations, and attitudes to corral your own expression of the gift of God that is you. That is essential for valuing life, people. So that's why I can't allow others to tell me how I should think about the things that I do. Having them support me is wonderful. Not depending on their support is fundamental. So when people have their own issues with life, at one level of the spectrum, it might be self-hate. At another level of the spectrum, it might be completely something else. It might just literally be the socialization into a careless, callous world that rewards distance and coldness and punishes warmth and affection. So you find that love and the things which we love tend to, in its natural state, be beautiful, subtle, and even at some points, even just discreet, just so quiet. But the things that the world promotes are so loud, so in your face. And so a lot of people now try to go for the in your face, go-getter mentality. And they get nowhere but to misery with a whole lot of company. So when you measure yourself up to the standards of a pre-designed mechanism with no emotions, the mechanism that is, but when you transpose yourself to that mechanism and then you want to actualize it in yourself, thinking it is something natural, a lot of times you will come up with the idea that life is a curse. And you will see manifestation in the pain, in the suffering, in the growth of apathy amongst societal members, the division in our cultural understanding, in our spiritual and our religious understanding. You might literally think everything is going out of control, but most times control, or the lack thereof, is inside the head and inside the heart. That's where true control is. So self-control, to have power over your behaviors, having the right mental state, proper mental health, will furnish you with the ability to process things, not compare yourself, or be able to appreciate love, or appreciate the gifts and the talents which are natural to you. And so now to the point of the gift of life. Now, in this very same life, without feeling, there is no existence and there's no experience. So existence is feeling, right? So whether you're feeling pain, you're feeling joy, you're feeling all manner of confusing, stomach churning states, to feel is deeper than to think. It's a very electromagnetic signal that you are alive. The breath included, of course, right? So feelings are so powerful, but feelings are manipulable, right? And because feelings are manipulable, right, people tend to manipulate their own feelings, allow their feelings to be manipulated in only one major directions, most times when they have the negative viewpoint, which is the negative direction. Now, if you allow those feelings to be groomed, coerced, right, and even a little bit honed, which is the right term I was looking for, not coerced, honed for a higher purpose, then you find that the struggles, the pains, they all create the fundamental platforms or foundation of meaning. And why is meaning important? Humans are easily bored because most things, including the human life, has a transience. Things come and they go so fast and they don't last. So in order to have a connection to the value of the gift of life, most times, if not all times, there has to be a risk to reward ratio, a tangible as well as a psychomatic balance between prospectus and outcome. There has to be between dreams and reality, hope and actuality. You have to have that balance, because you cannot just look at actuality and say, oh my God, it's hard, it's difficult, there's pain, there's suffering. But hope says, get up and meet the possibility. Carpe diem, seize the day, go forward and acclaim your right and make the gift manifest. Make the feelings go towards harmony, joy, well-being. The meaning is born from that. Within that is the meaning that suffices the moments of doubt, of worry, or of quandary. And how do you go to that meaning? Reflections. You can't do the fast-paced life if you are a conscious, awakened, and living in your gift. You can't go the pace of external. You have to go the pace of the internal and the spirit, which means you're going to have to pause, reflect, and quantify. And this is where now you can get into the meaning of your life. You can see how each sleepless night, how the sequence of problems and emotions that were stirred during your fundamental building stages of your final outcomes or your continuing good outcome, when you look back into it, how your marriage almost fell apart, your relationship almost fell apart, you almost lost your life, you almost lost the ability to properly think, right? Or even in an emotional sense to even make love to your woman or to be made love to as a woman. You lose, have lost. Many of those things are, you are under threat through duress, through outcomes, through experiences and events to have lost that. But you survive. And so when you now quantify through reflection all of this, you find that you are happier with your experience because it makes sense. You're seeing the value in your experience. You're now recognizing that life is a gift. It's not a curse. It's actually a gift. And all those sleepless nights that wrestled your psyche, that troubled your inner being, now comes to merit and value and worthwhileness, right? Now you can see that it's not a curse. However, there are people who have gone through things and they try constantly, and every time they're about to make a breakthrough, bam, something seems to cut out the very fabric and foundation from under them. Now, when a person constantly goes through that, I must admit, it can, in a sense, seem that life possibly is a curse, because that might seem inexplicable, that every time you're about to ascend to somewhere of value, bam, some crosses, as we say in Jamaica, some disaster. However, this is now clear that there is an issue that needs attention. Maybe the problem is you have an improper process of application of your gifts and talents, or you have not over time properly quantified or assessed what is necessary in the totality for the complete outcome to be beneficial. Because sometimes a person goes, and I've said this in other videos, they go to 95% of the way. You told them, go up on the mountain, go around on the edge of the mountain, you'll get the best view. You'll get the best experience. You show them picture of that experience. You told them where the mountain is. They go up on the mountain, they come down from the mountain, they do not have picture of the summit. You say, but you went on the mountain. They say, yes, I didn't find the summit. You say, how could you have not found the summit? You went on the mountain, you saw the sights, but how could you have not found the spot? And then you heard, well, I went to the stone. You said, go to the stone. And I said, yet further when you reach a stone. But all they did was reach to the stone and stop. So don't blame others who are a little bit more curious and went further to assess and quantify. So sometimes you stop 1 feet away from fulfillment. Sometimes you stop a moment away from completion. And in your ignorance and your apathy, you run away and slide backwards instead of forwards. So just like the person who just needed to go 5% more for the most rewarding view and the most rewarding moment, they stopped at 95. And if they consistently stop at 95, that becomes a pattern. That becomes a patented outcome and behavior, and it's going to take effort to break that. So before you curse life, I would say curse the state of mind that's making you not complete the process of life, because it cycles. Now to curses being the foundation of the understanding of gifts or of blessings. Curses make you see that if you think negative, act negative, there's a literal outcome. And sometimes that literal outcome, though seemingly is going to go constantly in one direction towards negative, sometimes because of those negative outcomes, if you're just willing to just stop and assess, you can gain the positive from those negatives, because you would have been able to see the faults in your application. Let's take it to a broader context. When you're constantly going through struggles and oppression, before you just accuse the external and the great old evil devil, which is evil, look at how it is that you've been applying yourself to your activities. A lot of people might be saying, Jerome, I'm great out. I've been applying myself greatly. Look at me, really look at me. I've been doing my greatest best, and greatest, best, whichever the grammar says, it suggests that you're doing your supreme. But you ever wonder when people are in the moments where they're closest to death, yet being attacked, the fight or flight parasympathetic nervous system response tends to lift people up, and they just keep going, jumping 10 feet walls and escaping in the nick of time. Something extra pops out, so we're not limited. So that's the point I'm trying to make, that a lot of people who says life are cursed and are the worst and is the worst experience, and we are not having this supposed gift that some is talking about. Those people are quitting sometimes before seeing the fullness of life. They have not defeated the inner demons, the inner enemy. Hallelujah. That's what has happened a lot of times, even though it might seem like it's as easy for you to say, but I'm a human being too. I know when I've been apathetic and not been genuine with myself. I know when I rather just sit my ass down and not do enough of what is necessary, hoping and praying that just what I've done is just enough to get me over the threshold, because I'm bored, I'm bothered, I'm perplexed, I'm upset, I'm distracted. Think about those who focus their energy and attention, and then they're bubbly, they're like the sun, they're filled with energy, and maybe even like the moon with that silvery light. It's not just about intensity, there's subtleties of beauty and awesomeness as well too, right? And people are upset in themselves. People are measuring the joy of others against their own joy or unhappiness. And so this confusion would lead a lot to think life is a curse and not a gift, right? But it is a gift, a most beautiful divine gift. Some care about what they do with the gift and say others don't care, but I don't, hallelujah, believe that. We all care what we do with the gift. We're all confused about how we got the gift. We're all confused some points of the fact, is it really a gift? But we all contemplate it. So as we think about the quality of what we want in our experience and what we'd like to share out of our experience, instead of just looking at our most negative experiences in one way as being signs of a harsh or horrible life, look at it as being an expression of our inconsistencies and our incomplete application of the truth, our incomplete application of righteousness, our incomplete application of justice. That's what that behavior reflects. It just shows that we are not fully together, having our dots in a row, or in sequence, or in order. It just suggests that you just need to spend a little bit more time with you, a little more time with your Creator, a little more time to get to love yourself, a little more time to really interconnect with not just you, but you and your environment, the people in your environment. Living in Jamaica, we always say life hard and it's difficult, and we can be a set of very wicked people at times. But then if you were to take that and say it to another Jamaican, they'll agree with you. But here's a problem now. If a foreigner, in most cases, would start to talk this way about Jamaicans, to Jamaicans, it would upset our spirits. And almost immediately, most of us, I'm not saying all, most of us would start on a defense of our fellow Jamaicans by saying, yeah man, badness there, wickedness there, but some of the best people in the world is Jamaican. Then, in defense of your people's dignity, which is like defending your own dignity, you'll say such things, right? Meaning that we know that there's goodness here. We know that Jamaica isn't defined by evil, wickedness, perversion, manipulation. We know that evil, perversion, manipulation is being superimposed or being coerced into the behavior and activity of the people from their young into adults. If you train the tree this way, you don't have to ask which direction it will grow, but yet still, even a tree by nature will try to follow its own feeling according to nature and the wind. See, if you put it in a fence, it's going to outgrow that fence, and in some cases even absorb the fence, right? There's beauty in our people. There's beauty in the gift of life. And we don't have to look to find it. It is everywhere present. And because it is everywhere present, this gift, when you express this gift, you find that you will upset some and you will inspire others. Some will call you self-centered, but some will recognize that you're breaking self and the selves out of the cells of our own making. Life is a beautiful gift, and there's nothing wrong with any of us or all of us discovering that beauty. There's absolutely nothing wrong with all of us discovering the beauty that is the gift of our lives. It will save us from being so aggressive a lot of time, being so angry because we feel undervalued and without worth, because other people who feels undervalued and without worth is expressing likewise the same. So you have to be the change you want to see in the world, or in your reality, because the world might seem too big. But it is inspiring enough to have a great enough challenge to set out on a journey that will be lifelong, and I know will be worthwhile, towards discovering that life is a gift, not a curse. And during the moments of your curse, you will still be able, through patience, self-reflection, and that determination to overcome, you will discover what is the blessings and what is the gift of your life. So once again, this has been Talako the Great Owl, Reasonings right here at the Tree of Life. I'm in the beautiful Oak Gardens, and this is the Chinese Gardens. And today I had a wonderful reasoning with Debbie, a lawyer, the host and the tour guide, and a few powerful members I know of Jamaican society. and within, you know, certain members of the government and certain sectors. And it was awesome. It was awesome reasoning, and I give God thanks because in that was an expression of a gift to me, because such reasonings aren't put on by a precognitive thought that we all had. We're all strangers that came into familiarity in one moment. And I don't know about you, but for me, because I love the increase and the sharing of that electromagnetic data and frequency, it was awesome. So awesome. So blessings again. Hope Gardens, Kingston, Jamaica, Chinese garden. And you know, I've come here and I've burned no fire for enough of the altars. But over time, I found myself a little spot in the Chinese garden that is quiet. And today I had a very good experience here. So sometimes, again, it goes to show you, we all grow past our own understanding. And it doesn't mean that there are not other things in the atmosphere. Just as we're talking about the atmosphere, remember what we're talking about? The gift of life. Is it a gift or is it a curse? And at first, I looked at this place as just a curse, hallelujah, because I could only see what in philosophy, in spirituality, pointed to curse. But through a willingness to approach more than just my own ego, thought, or perception, I got to understand that there's also blessings. On this little spot, I've met some very beautiful people here, and I've shot a couple of videos here, a couple of videos around. Though I actually got into trouble for doing that at first. Okay, this is a paid garden, so just remember that I told you it's a paid garden, right? This part of the garden. You know that goes with me already. Anyway, love, light, and blessings continue to be the gift that you are to yourself, to your environment, and to the awesome people that share in this beautiful, wonderful life with us. Blessings until next time.